When an inmate's released from federal prison, he typically has what's referred to as supervised release. And that's basically a probationary period of federal monitoring. The state calls that period parole. But for federal inmates, it's referred to as probation. And where strict oversight dictates rules and stipulations, ones, if violated, can send a person back to prison. This is naturally an inconvenience to anyone leaving prison, but for someone with an organized crime case, it becomes a huge problem. Because on federal probation, you're banned from associating with other members and associates, other convicted felons, and in some instances, even relatives. This also includes not attending weddings, funerals, certain restaurants known to be mob affiliated, or mob hangouts, parties, family gatherings, etc. With the purpose being, if you're allowed to freely start socializing again, criminal activity usually follows. Organized crime prosecutions don't really end when an inmate completes his prison time. In many ways, the federal government considers the word release as the second phase of the investigation. A significant fact that the FBI understands about the mob is many of its members return to their neighborhoods, hangouts, and mingle with the same people. With this recognized pattern, prosecutors not only aim for convictions, but also for long-term control. Supervised release, for a wise guy, is like releasing an ape back into the zoo and not permitting him to socialize with the other apes. You're free from prison, but restricted to do what you please. A person on supervised release can't really be active in the street, and meeting with guys is essential to that life. The street term, on paper, is the equivalent of saying a guy's in limbo. I've spoken about meeting with Lucchese member Johnny Budanza, who was on paper at the time. We let him pick the day, time, and place for that meeting, because if anything went wrong and he was violated as a result of the sit-down, it would be on him. He couldn't turn around and say, "You picked that joint to meet, and it got me pinched." It's a slippery slope, so you let the guy who's on paper steer the bobsled. Anyway, by cutting off a person socializing, and more crucially, his communicating, it weakens a piece of the organization. Federal probation officers play a much bigger role in organized crime cases than most people realize. They're not just sitting in an office handling paperwork. With organized crime cases, they become part of the long-term surveillance system. A probation officer can show up at your house unannounced or place of employment. They can inspect your home, looking for burner phones that are used to communicate, check your computer, search for gambling records, or large unexplained cash. They always verify who's living with you, as well as check the exits wherever you're living. These searches require far less legal process than normal criminal investigations, which puts the government at a tremendous advantage. Probation officers will track who a person is spending time with, and they'll look into exactly who these people are and who they associate with. This is to put the pieces of the bigger picture together. They use surveillance photos, plate readers, restaurant footage, cell phone records, and location data. And of course, social media, all of which they share and compare with FBI agents familiar to the case. They work closely with the FBI, local law enforcement, and federal prosecutors. For instance, if agents spot a wise guy who's on supervised release at a gambling spot, a restaurant, while meeting with other wise guys, they immediately notify probation. Among the tools probation has at their disposal is toll records, traffic cameras, cell phone pings, vehicle tracking, parking records, and security camera footage. Most guys on supervised release, when questioned about a possible violation, will either say they casually ran into so-and-so or deny it altogether, which isn't the smartest of moves. A person could also report an accidental or unavoidable contact with someone on their no-contact list. It definitely can happen. Guys do run into people. At which time probation expects them to leave immediately, avoid conversation, and report that contact to their prospective probation officer. And not every alleged violation ends up with the person being sent back to prison. The courts understand that in tightly connected neighborhoods, especially ones replete with organized crime figures, unavoidable encounters can take place. Conversely, what gets people violated is repeated meetings and being seen sitting and talking to someone you're not permitted to associate with, coordinated activities, evidence suggesting ongoing association, and the failure to report any of these contacts. Banana boss Michael Mancuso faced scrutiny because of continued association while on supervised release. The same took place with Colombo boss Teddy Persico, who was captured on security cameras, meeting with members of his family, as well as other families. And more recently, Gambino captain Andrew Campos is facing violation of doing the same. So why do these guys keep taking chances, knowing very well what the consequences are? The short answer is organized crime is built on relationships, identity, and routine. Most of these guys only know that life and don't really know another way to live. For many of them, a no-contact order equates to avoiding lifelong friends, not attending family events or favorite places, but more importantly, cutting ties with people that they trust and enjoy socializing with. In the mob, reputation and loyalty means everything. So completely disappearing or staying in your house after prison can make you seem weak, scared of going back to prison, disconnected, and no longer respected. So even with supervision and constant surveillance, maintaining status matters more than the violation itself. It's a mindset that developed over decades. The government essentially wants these guys to start a completely new life and become different people. But realistically, they never left their old life. And the very thing that keeps the mob functioning, face-to-face meetings, personal introductions, etc., is exactly what gets them violated time and time again. Everyone thinks they could get over or outsmart a probation officer. And yet, we keep hearing of these guys being dragged into federal court for supervised release violations. From the law enforcement perspective, those violations send a clear message. We're watching you and know you're still involved in organized crime. They want to apply pressure by preventing these guys from getting back on their feet, rebuilding relationships, and reconnecting with bosses, captains, and other members and associates, as well as reestablishing their influence. Violations allow prosecutors to avoid a lot of legal hurdles, as opposed to a new indictment, lowering the burden of proof and quickly removing a person off the street. A violation can do in weeks what a RICO investigation may take years to achieve. If you haven't liked this video yet, please take the time now and give it a like, as it helps with YouTube's algorithm. Anyone who'd like to show their appreciation for videos like this, or more importantly, help me to continue making them, you can donate with the Super Thanks icon down below, or through the PayPal Cash App links in the video's description. Let me quickly mention my blog, also called Sitdownnews, especially for those of you who still enjoy reading. The site can be found at sitdownnews.com and is a paid subscription. In present day, the FBI doesn't need to chase wise guys through the streets or build major cases from scratch. They just wait for that meeting, phone call, photo or video, which is all it takes for that single violation. And when it happens, it totally disrupts the criminal network and causes setbacks. Because in the modern mafia, it's no longer about surviving a prison sentence. It's surviving life after prison, maintaining freedom. And for a great deal of these guys, the very thing they can't escape is each other.